Welcome back to Nigeflixes. The movie starts with a man named Mezu, a school teacher about to travel out of the country. He sees his friend, Shola, and asks what he's doing there. Shola says he's helping out at his cousin's husband's restaurant because the man had a little accident. Mezu laments, "Shola, that's why we should leave this country. This country is not benefiting us." Shola agrees. They plan to attend a farewell party that night for Mezu, who is finally leaving Nigeria. Even one of Mezu's students' parents expresses that they will miss him a lot. Mezu sees his beautiful coworker, Kamsi, and asks her to buy him jollof rice. Kamsi playfully refuses, saying he should buy for her since he's the one leaving. As they chat, a guy joins them, telling Mezu that the boss wants to see him. Mezu, feeling defensive, asks if there's a problem. The principal intervenes, calming Mezu down. The mysterious boss, Zeno, seems to hold significant power, even over the school principal. Later, at the farewell party, Mezu sees the guy who confronted him earlier. His friend jokes, "You are onto better things, bro." Mezu, Shola, and others took the IELTS test together, hoping to leave the country. Among them is Khalid, who, unlike the others, believes Nigeria is not that bad. They mock Khalid, calling him mad for wanting to leave while defending the country. Despite their efforts, none have managed to leave until now, with Mezu being the first. Shola mentions that Khalid's cousin is now the Minister of Works, and that Khalid himself is now a billionaire. They are amazed by this transformation. Wasil, one of their friends, has been on a call with someone named Mr. Sweet and joins them to celebrate Mezu's departure, marking him as the first in their group to succeed in leaving the country. Their attempts to leave have had mixed results. Toby, for example, managed to send his family to Australia, but is now struggling to join them. Shola has repeatedly failed his French exams. Wasil planned to travel to Germany through Libya, but was caught by immigration inside a container. These failures make Mezu's success even more significant. Kamsi and her friend Bola join the group. Toby is immediately smitten with Bola. They continue their conversation about leaving the country. Wasil asks Kamsi if she would leave if given the chance. Kamsi says no, arguing that someone must stay to make Nigeria great again. They laugh at her idealism. Bola, however, dreams of traveling to America, Paris, or Amsterdam. Toby jokingly suggests Toronto, mistaking it for an American city. Later, Mezu drives Kamsi home, and their goodbye is bittersweet. Kamsi asks if Mezu will be invigilating the mock exams the next day. Initially, Mezu declines, saying cool guys don't invigilate. However, upon learning they would be paid 100,000 naira each, he changes his mind. They joke and part ways. As Kamsi gets out of the car, she receives a call from Zeno, who earlier sent someone to summon her. She enters her room to clean up and then leaves again. On her table, 3 ants walk in circles, hinting at something significant yet to be revealed. Mezu sees his landlady, Mrs. Ajayi, begging Zeno, who lent her 7 million naira for her son's kidney treatment. Zeno demands repayment within a week or he will seize her house. Mezu suggests getting a lawyer, but Mrs. Ajayi insists that Zeno is not someone you fight. Frustrated, Mezu feels helpless, but promises to help if he can. The day Mezu is set to leave, he gets dressed and heads out with his bag, ready to move to America. He mocks his village people. He drives to sell his car, but upon arrival, he sees Zeno's guys seizing cars from the dealer. Mezu offers to call the police, but the dealer insists against it. Mezu is forced to sell his car for 1.2 million naira instead of the agreed 1.5 million. While trying to order an Uber, a white van pulls up and Mezu is kidnapped. He begs to be let go, explaining he's leaving for America because Nigeria is tiring. One of the robbers mocks him, but eventually agrees to let him go, throwing him out of the van but taking his money. Desperate, Mezu returns to the car dealer, accusing him of setting him up. The dealer denies it and calls his boys to beat Mezu, who wisely leaves. Tope, a friend, helps Mezu get home. Discussing the incident, Mezu realizes that only a few people knew he was selling his car. Suspecting an inside job, they rush to confront Wasiu, banging on his door. Mezu opens Wasiu's door and demands, "Where's my money?" Immediately, Wasiu goes down on his knees, begging for mercy. He explains that he borrowed 2 million naira from Zeno, fearing Zeno would kill him if he didn't repay. Mezu, disappointed, questions why Wasiu didn't inform him earlier. Meanwhile, the principal hands over the proceeds from the Independence Day charity to Kamzi, instructing her to deposit the money in the bank. She warns Kamzi that it would be a shame if anything happened to the money. Kamzi takes the bag and leaves. Tope and Mezu arrive at the school, where Mezu confesses he has only 200K left in his account. He plans to combine it with the car sale money to have something for his trip to America. Tope, preoccupied with his phone, sends Mezu 500K to help him out. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Mezu starts to cry with joy. Entering the staff room with teary eyes, Kamzi greets Mezu and notices he looks troubled. The principal arrives, preparing them to invigilate the exams. Mezu requests his invigilator fees up front, explaining that he needs to convert his money to dollars for his travel. The principal agrees and asks Kamzi to give Mezu 100K from the charity money, assuring it will be replaced later. Kamzi opens her locker, takes out the money, and hands it to Mezu. He starts staring at the bag of money, contemplating a sinister plan. During the exam, Mezu signals another teacher that he needs to use the toilet. He sneaks into the staff room, breaks into Kamzi's locker, and begins packing the charity money she is supposed to take to the bank. While packing, he gets bitten by an ant, reminiscent of the ants seen in Kamzi's room earlier. After taking all the money, Mezu leaves the school immediately, abandoning his invigilation duties. That night at the airport, while waiting for his flight, Mezu hears an announcement calling him to the information desk. He finds Kamzi there and becomes speechless, realizing the gravity of his actions. He apologizes profusely, saying he had no choice. Kamzi retorts, "There is always a choice." She says goodbye, hoping he will one day right his wrongs. On the plane, Mezu makes a final video call to Toby, confessing what he did. Toby admonishes him, saying it's bad luck to steal from children. After their call, the flight takes off, and Mezu heads to America. The next day, Mezu wakes up in his bed, confused. He checks his phone and sees an alarm labeled Joppa Day. Realizing it was all a dream, he quickly gets ready, determined to correct everything he saw in the dream. He heads to sell his car, insisting on the 1.5 million naira price he dreamt about. The dealer reluctantly agrees. Mezu, now aware of the kidnappers, hides and calls Toby to pick him up, successfully avoiding the kidnapping. After escaping the kidnappers, Mezu confronts Wasiu about planning to rob him. Wasiu apologizes and they settle the matter. At school, Mezu enters the staff room cheerfully. Kamzi, lost in thought, is startled when Mezu touches her. She senses déjà vu, feeling that something unusual is happening. While waiting for the flight, Mezu tries not to fall asleep, fearing another dream. His alarm rings, and he wakes up again, realizing he is stuck in a time loop. The day keeps repeating itself, frustrating Mezu. He runs to Toby, explaining the strange occurrences. Toby laughs, finding it hard to believe. Mezu insists, and as they talk, Toby's Toronto lady walks out of the room, making the situation even more awkward. Desperate, Mezu takes the matter to their network of friends. Shola doubts the time loop theory, but Mezu reveals Wasiu's secrets, proving something strange is happening. Shola proposes an experiment. He will share a secret with Mezu, who must repeat it the next day to prove the loop. The next day, Mezu accurately recounts the secret, convincing Shola. Shola creates a board to analyze Mezu's first day, identifying unusual events. The robbery stands out. Mezu, realizing his theft might be the cause, admits to stealing the children's charity fund. Wasiu jumps up, accusing Mezu of being cursed. Mezu, now believing he is cursed, seeks help. The friends consult a pastor who admits the situation is challenging. They visit a doctor who dismisses their claims. Finally, Shola takes them to a native doctor. The woman's theatrics confuse Mezu and Wasiu. She starts a ritual, throwing things and speaking nonsensically. Frustrated, Mezu wants to leave, but the woman insists on beginning the ceremony. She sits, stands, and repeats the cycle, confusing them further. Mezu found himself stuck in a bizarre time loop, after visiting a witch doctor who confirmed he was cursed. Desperate to find a solution, he sought the company of his friends and spent his days indulging in reckless behavior, knowing that his actions would reset every day. However, this lifestyle soon proved unsatisfactory, leading Mezu to a state of hopelessness and petty theft to survive. One day, while being accused of theft, his friend Kamsi intervened. She revealed that she, too, was trapped in a time loop. They shared their stories, with Kamsi explaining how her loop began after a series of unfortunate events at work and home. Both discovered that they couldn't die, regardless of the circumstances. Kamsi had adapted by learning new skills and using her time productively. She shared how an ant bite always marked the beginning of her loop, linking her plight to the Omanala goddess from her village. Mezu realized his curse was similar, linked to the same goddess. They theorized that their predicament was tied to a moral order, Omanala, which they had disrupted. Seeking to break the curse, they visited the witch doctor again. She instructed them to restore Omanala to see a change in their situation. On their way back, they encountered a boy whose mother was unconscious due to domestic abuse. Mezu tried to help, but was killed by the abusive husband, only to wake up 5 minutes later than usual, a sign they were making progress. Determined, Mezu and Kamsi decided to help others. Each good deed extended their day by 5 minutes. They noticed that helping people beyond those directed by the ants granted them an hour each. This discovery led them to help a woman evicted from her shop by a tyrant named Zeno, which yielded even more time. They deduced that aiding Zeno's victims was the key to breaking their curse. Their efforts culminated in a plan to take down Zeno, who had wronged Kamsi by exploiting her financially and sexually. Despite initial resistance and fear, Kamsi joined Mezu and their friends in confronting Zeno. They learned that Zeno had the village's passports and money in his office safe, guarded by his thugs. Through a series of attempts and failures, they finally succeeded in retrieving the items. In a climactic showdown, Zeno attempted to thwart their efforts, but the community rallied behind Mezu and Kamsi. Zeno's own men, realizing the futility of resistance, advised him to leave. Humiliated, Zeno departed, and the villagers celebrated their newfound freedom. The next morning, Mezu awoke to his alarm, thinking the loop continued. However, Kamsi revealed it was a prank. The loop was broken. Meanwhile, Zeno found himself trapped in an endless night, unable to escape or move forward, a fitting punishment for his transgressions. And that's the end of the movie called Japa of 2024. Don't forget to subscribe to Nijaflix and turn on notifications so that you don't miss any of our videos.